Esmirna Matos, Director of System Improvement. I think that some people do leave us out of the conversation, in part because of the context of how usually the majority of the Hispanic come to this country. I think that some other people are very aware that that Black and brown people are targeted in very similar ways. I think that art is part of the great ways where we can use to incorporate how other cultures, I don't want to say the word works, but how other cultures behave. The poetry, the movies, visiting other countries is it possible, are great ways to have a conversation about how other cultures are and their interactions. The internet is very full of information, and there are universities like the university in New York, the Hunter College, that it has great resources online about Hispanic heritage. There are other information online. I cannot say specific what areas, but if you want to look for different artists, for different books, there are places online. I think that the language plays a very important piece, that we ensure that that the person and the child understand what is being told and what is the conversation about. Sometimes we take for granted that because the person can put together a couple of sentences, that the person is fully understanding. From my personal experience learning a second language, and I learned after my 40s. So it is important to be aware that the language has different phases, right? Some people can talk the language before be able to read the language or to write the language. So the understanding piece is another one. So some people, when they learn a second language, they are able to read better than to understand better or to write better. So sometimes because we are able to have a conversation, the other person can assume that is 100% understood, and it's not necessarily the case. So it's very important that we be sensible and that we ensure to ask as much as possible that if you need a translator, if you need documentation in your own language, and to ensure that that translation is accurate, because the other problem is that sometimes you receive documentation that is translated that you cannot understand it either. So those are the pieces that the communication is always open, and that we don't assume that because the person is talking and is putting words together and sentences together can understand all what is being said, that we ensure that that all what is needed to say and being understood is understood. Oh, that's an easy one, the food. The roots that it's in the Caribbean, it's very rich in roots, and I love roots. So there is a lot of variety. So you imagine potatoes that is 10 times tasty better. So that's one of my favorites. It's very rich in fish. So I love everything that comes from the sea. So la Navidad. Para mí la Navidad es súper especial. Y es especial primordialmente porque es el momento en el que la familia se reúne y es ese momento en el que cocinamos juntos, estamos juntos, bajo un mismo techo, gozamos juntos, hacemos ejercicio juntos. Es ese momento de ese junte familiar, en donde nos ponemos al día en muchas cosas, en donde vemos cuánto han crecido los sobrinos, los nietos, los logros. Es un momento familiar tan íntimo y tan especial que para mí la Navidad tiene un valor súper especial. Es el momento en el que yo voy a la familia y me recompongo otra vez para comenzar un nuevo año.